the legendary and powerful F-15EX has taken the world by surprise. This air fighter not only ruled the sky with its advanced and supersonic features, its existence terrified the United States rivals, making them shrink into a distance. However, that's only the tip of the iceberg, because this fighter just got better and ready to take on advanced threats. This new supersonic fighter is equipped with capabilities that has Russia and China scared. What are the upgrades on the F-15EX? Why is Russia and China terrified of this upgraded supersonic fighter? Join us as we delve into the capabilities of the new F-15EX Eagle as it prepares itself for battle, terrifying Russia and China. For people unfamiliar with this air fighter, this United States F-15 Eagle is fighter jet that can fly efficiently in any weather. This masterpiece was designed by McDonnell Douglas, which is now part of Boeing. The United States Air Force chose this unique design in 1969 when they needed a top-notch fighter jet that would have unrivaled features. The Eagle had its first flight in 1972 and became operational in 1976. Since then, it has been very successful, winning over 100 air flights without any losses recorded, mostly thanks to the Israeli Air Force. The Eagle has been sold to several countries, including Israel, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. Initially, the air fighter was mainly built for air battles, but it also had the ability to attack targets on the ground with precision. But this feature was not used as much. Later, an advanced version called the F-15EX Strike Eagle was designed for all-weather missions, and it started service in 1989. This version has also been sold to various countries, and more versions of the F-15 have been made. Despite the United States Air Force's plans to replace their older F-15s with the newer F-22 Raptor by the 2010s, they did not buy as many F-22s as they hoped. Because of this, they kept some older F-15s in use until 2026 and started using a new version called the F-15EX Eagle II. Also, the Strike Eagle will keep flying with the U.S. Air Force into the 2030s. It is still being used by many countries, and they continue to make updated versions, one of which is the F-15EX. A key role of the aircraft was to detect enemy planes from far away, thanks to its powerful radar system. In fact, an F-15 pilot could target an enemy aircraft before even seeing it visually. However, in practice, the pilot would still need to confirm if the target ahead was actually an enemy. In addition, the chaos of war and the presence of Allied troops often means that the pilot needs to see your targets before you start fighting them in the air. The F-15's radar is large, with the aircraft measuring 64 feet in length and 43 feet in width, which is much wider than a tennis court. It has two engines, giving it more power than its counterpart, the single-engine F-16. Now to the airframe. The F-15 fighter jet has a fully metal body with a strong, shoulder-level wing that sticks out. Its wings have a special shape, like a modified triangle with a 45-angled front edge. The back edge of the wings has control flaps, but there are no adjustable flaps at the front edge. This design choice keeps things simple by using a consistent wing shape and low wing weight. The thickness of the wings changes from thicker at the base to thinner at the tips. The tail section of this aircraft is made of both metal and composite materials, featuring twin tail fins made of a mix of aluminum and a honeycomb structure covered with a thin layer of boron composite. The horizontal tail parts are also made of composite and can move independently to help steer during certain flying maneuvers. The F-15 uses a brake on top of its body for slowing down and has 3 wheels that can tuck away when flying. It has 2 powerful Pratt & Whitney engines with afterburners for extra speed, placed side by side and supplied air through adjustable front openings. The cockpit is high up at the front with clear, wide windows for better visibility all around. In the 1960s, the jet started using advanced titanium parts made through a special forming process. That aside, the aircraft is highly maneuverable because it has a low ratio of weight to wing area and a high ratio of thrust to weight, allowing it to make tight turns without losing speed. The jet can climb to 30,000 feet in about a minute. Sometimes, its engines produce more thrust than the entire weight and air resistance of the jet, letting it shoot straight up into the sky. The F-15 is designed so that one person can handle it alone in air combat. The basic versions of the supersonic aircraft, called the A and C models, have only one seat and are primarily used for air combat superiority. The B and D models have an extra seat for training, but can also fight. The E model uses the second seat for a crew member who manages the weapons. A unique thing about the Airfighter, compared to other modern fighter jets, is that it doesn't have turkey feather covers on its engine nozzles. These covers were removed because they caused problems and increased air resistance by 3%, which was. An extraordinary event happened in 1963 when an Israeli F-15D, after losing most of one wing in a collision, still managed to land safely. The pilot, Zevi Nadivi, controlled the severely damaged plane by using maximum engine power and landing at double the normal speed. Tests later showed that such control was only possible within a very narrow range of speeds and wing angles. This incident led to research into making flight control systems that can adapt to damage. A multi-mission avionics system in the F-15 includes a variety of tools and systems: a head-up display, advanced radar, an inertial guidance system, flight instruments, ultra-high frequency communications, navigation systems, and an electronic warfare setup. It also has systems for identifying whether other aircraft are friends or foes, an electronic countermeasure suite to trick enemy radar and sensors, and a central digital computer to process all this information. The HUD on the F-15 shows important flight and target information right in front of the pilot. This allows the pilot to see everything they need to track and attack an enemy aircraft without looking away from the front windshield, even in bright or dim lighting. This aircraft uses sophisticated radar systems that can detect targets above and below the aircraft, ignoring disruptions from ground objects. These radars can spot and follow both large and small, fast-moving objects from far away to very close, and from high altitudes to nearly ground level. The radar information helps the computer direct weapons accurately. In close combat, the radar quickly spots enemy aircraft, and this data shows up directly on the HUD. The jet's electronic warfare system alerts the pilot to threats and can automatically disrupt enemy tracking. The radar was later upgraded to an active electronically scanned array version in the APG-63 V2 and V3 models, which uses a very flexible radar beam to quickly update positions and track multiple targets. This upgraded radar works with the F-15's weapons and enhances the effectiveness of missiles like the AIM-120 AMRAAM, allowing the pilot to handle multiple targets at once. It can carry various air-to-air weapons and also has an automated system that helps the pilot use these weapons effectively and safely. The system shows information on the head-up display and has weapon controls on the engine throttles or control stick. When the pilot switches weapons, the HUD automatically updates to show information for the chosen weapon. The F-15 can be equipped with several types of armaments. It can carry AIM-7F/M Sparrow missiles, or AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles on the lower sides of its fuselage, and AIM-9L/M Sidewinder, or AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles under the wings. It also has a 20mm M61 Vulcan Gatling gun built into the right wing root. The aircraft is equipped with this missile to defend itself in conflicts. The C and D models make use of special fuel tanks called conformal fuel tanks. This tank helps it fit close to the aircraft's body around the engine air intakes. They can also carry a lot of fuel, extending the aircraft's range and reducing the need for refueling mid-flight. Although they create some extra drag, it's less than what regular external tanks would cause, and they can't be dropped during flight. But now there is a new version, the F-15EX. The defense company, Boeing Aviation, was placed in charge of developing and building the latest version of this fighter jet. The F-15EX is also known as the Eagle II. This new model was initially planned to replace a fleet of 211 single-seat F-15Cs, which were on average 30 years old, and 23 two-seat F-15D aircraft. However, the original F-15A has long been out of commission. In addition to these, the Air Force also uses 218 two-seat F-15E Strike Eagles. The F-15EX project began in the year 2018, and in 2020, the United States Department of Defense ordered the first 8 of these new fighters for $1.2 billion. The project has exceeded expectations since then, leading to an increase in order for another 12 Eagle, which costs $1.27 billion, with additional funds allocated for future purchases and research and development. The Air Force also plans to buy a total of 114 F-15EX, potentially increasing to 200 units, with the program's total cost estimated at about $22.9 billion. In February 2021, the Eagle II had its first flight from Boeing's airfield in St. Louis to Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, flying alongside the older F-15C Eagle and F-15E Strike Eagle. This was the first F-15 that the United States Air Force had bought since 2008. That year, America stopped ordering these famous jets and began exporting them to countries like Israel, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, South Korea, and Qatar, which continue to purchase them. Interestingly, the Eagle II originated from a modified version of the F-15 designed for Qatar, known as the F-15QA, and a version for Saudi Arabia called the F-15SA. The aircraft features upgraded sensors and digital cockpits with flat-screen technology, an advanced APG-82 electronic scanning radar, and the Eagle Passive Active Warning and Survivability System, which greatly enhance its survival capabilities compared to earlier models. The F-15EX pilots will benefit from a smart helmet system called the Joint Helmet Mounted Cueing System, which allows them to target enemies accurately without having to aggressively maneuver the aircraft. All information about the aircraft's status and weapon systems is displayed on the helmet-mounted display, reducing the pilot's workload but slightly limiting combat capabilities. The cockpit of this new fighter includes a powerful new computer, a 19 by 4-inch HD touchscreen, and an additional screen in the back seat for a co-pilot, though usually the jet is usually flown by a single pilot. A significant technological advancement is the aircraft's open mission systems architecture, which has advanced combat control systems. This makes the jet more modular, allowing for easy updates with the latest technology and ensuring its relevance for years to come. The OMS also enhances the fighter's autonomy, enabling it to operate independently from the global cloud network and reconnect when needed. The Eagle II has two powerful F-110 GE-129 engines that each deliver 29,000 pounds of thrust. This makes the aircraft faster, more agile, and more responsive, able to reach speeds of up to Mach 2.5. This is faster than the Russian Su-57's Mach 2 and the American F-35 Lightning II's Mach 1.6. The design of this new fighter is aimed at being the most heavily armed fighter in the world, with 12 attachment points for air-to-air missiles and 15 for air-to-ground missiles, allowing it to carry up to 13 tons of weaponry. It can hold 22 AIM-9X Sidewinder and AIM-120D AMRAAM missiles with a range of up to 180 kilometers. This compares impressively to the F-35, which can only internally carry 4 missiles. The idea is that the F-35 and F-15EX would work together in combat. The F-30 would stealthily identify enemy targets, and then the aircraft would strike with its powerful arsenal. This strategy is like a magician distracting the audience to keep the secret of his trick hidden. It also boasts a longer service life, with 20,000 flight hours compared to the F-35 8,000 hours. Despite costing $87.7 million each, close to the F-35 price of around $78 to $79 million, the F-15EX is cheaper to operate and maintain, costing between $27,000 and $29,000 per flight hour compared to the F-35 $38,000. Lockheed Martin plans to reduce the F-38's cost per flight hour to $25,000 by 2025. But the F-15EX's cost might also decrease, maintaining the competitive edge in budget discussions. One major setback of the F-15EX compared to fifth-generation fighters is its lack of stealth capabilities. However, military experts increasingly view this characteristic as costly, driving up the purchase and maintenance expenses, which ultimately burdens taxpayers. From this perspective, the F-15EX represents the idea that what was old can be new and relevant again. But that is not a cause of worry, because despite the F-15EX's lack of stealthy features, the United States Air Force remains a force to reckon with. How? Well, the F-15, with its improved capabilities, is not the only new addition to the United States military. The F-22 also got an upgrade that has transformed the aircraft from just being stealthy and powerful to being a beast in the sky, daring rivals to come close. The Raptor is a modern fighter jet that boasts really advanced features. It is the first air fighter to fly exceptionally fast without consuming a lot of fuel. It can perform complex maneuvers and is hard to detect by radar, unlike the F-15EX. This jet is designed to do missions where it needs to fight other jets or protect against attacks in dangerous areas. It is shaped in a way that helps it be both fast and hard to spot on radar. Its wings and body are also shaped in a way that reduces how much radar can detect it. It has special parts like flaps and tails that help it control its movements during flight. The jet can carry its weapons inside, which helps it stay hidden from radar. It can also refuel while flying and has landing gear in case of emergencies. Additionally, it has safety features like a fire suppression system and a system to keep its fuel tanks safe. The Raptor is powered by two powerful Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines that are placed close together. Each engine can produce a lot of thrust, about 35,000 pounds. When the jet is flying with all its equipment, it can move almost as much weight as its engines can push, making it very maneuverable. The way the air is directed into the engines helps the jet fly smoothly and efficiently at high speeds. Without carrying any extra equipment, the F-22 can go up to about Mach 1.8 using just its engines, and more than Mach 2 when using afterburners. With its internal fuel and extra fuel tanks, it can fly over 1,600 nautical miles. This formidable and stealthy aircraft also just got even better with its yearly upgrades. The U.S. Air Force and Lockheed Martin are beginning the second phase of yearly updates to the F-22 fleet. They're planning to make software changes and quick upgrades that will set the stage for how future aircraft will be maintained. This defense company, E-Company, is carrying out these upgrades under the Advanced Raptor Enhancement and Sustainment Contract that is worth a whopping amount of $10.9 billion. Even though the Air Force plans to retire the F-22 once the NGAD platform is ready to take over, they're still spending a lot of money to keep it updated. The United States Air Force has budgeted $3.5 billion for research, development, testing, and evaluation for the fleet in fiscal 2024, with $19.5 billion planned over the next 5 years. The Air Force Life Cycle Management Center's Program Executive Officer for Fighters and Advanced Aircraft, Dale White, also mentioned that these investments are very important in making sure that the F-22 remains up-to-date and effective against current and future threats. He also explained to reporters that the advancements made for the jet will also contribute to the development of future technologies, including NGAD. After the completion of a major upgrade on the F-22, known as Increment 3.2B in 2020 to 2021, Aviation Company, Lockheed Martin and the Air Force have shifted their focus to another approach, a new one called the Raptor Agile Capable Release Program. The first phase was completed in 2022, and it focused on updating the jet's hardware to allow it to transmit Link 16 data. The second phase, is the Raptor 2, is a software modification program that has recently been approved and is now being implemented, while the third phase, or the Release 3, is expected to follow about 12 to 18 months later. The United States Air Force and Lockheed are in collaboration to improve the F-22's range by testing the low-drag tanks and pylons. However, these upgrades will be done after the installation of the RACR Release 2. With these new upgrades in the NGAD project, the United States Air Force has become scarier than ever. Russia and China truly have something to be terrified about. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.